Hey, what's up, everybody? Thank you for joining me this morning. Lot to discuss. But first, let's talk about the main or the most important thing. The most important thing is futures reverse itself. If you ask me why, I'm going to tell you it's completely because of China. So let's just go over the Chinese numbers before we talk about the SPY and a couple of earnings plays. Okay, China's PMI came in, their manufacturing PMI came in at 52.6. The estimate was 50.5. So they beat by 2% or by 2 points. The previous number was 50.1. So that's 2.5 points higher. That's manufacturing numbers. Non-manufacturing numbers. Okay, maybe those stayed in line. No, those beat as well. Previous 54.4, estimate 54.9, actual 56.3. So again, they beat by 2%. Composite 56.4, previous 52.9. Why? Because China is putting liquidity into the Chinese market. So you'll see all Chinese stocks are popping this morning. Now, specifically, we can talk about Baidu. Baidu, I mentioned because I follow Baidu like it's my family. So Baidu at $135, great buy. When it was 149, 151, 152, I said it was a terrible buy and it would likely fade. So where do we see support on Baidu? Well, I was just going to the dark pool levels. You know what? In fact, better than suggesting, let's just do that right now. Before I actually talk about the market, I'm going to go over to Discord. I'm going to talk about the dark pool levels of the SPY, but let's look at dark pool levels for Baidu. So we type in DP levels, Baidu, and you guys can do this. I'm on the public trader chat, as you can see. So you want to follow us on Discord? Great. You don't want to pay right away? Great. You can do it publicly. So let's get on. Okay, you guys can see this with me. Baidu, I saw major support at 135. Now you can see a huge dark pool level right at 138.54. So that's the level I'd be watching. So when I talk about Baidu, and let's just see where it is. Pre-market, it is Baidu. Let's get this on here. BIDU. Let me just kill this. Hey, I think your phone is ringing. Okay, so let's just get rid of that. Baidu bouncing this morning up to 146. So again, if I'm looking at Baidu, I'm thinking today it could fade because 146, it's pre-market. I see some dark pool levels right here at 147 or 150. So I'd be looking for rejection if I want to get into Baidu puts at 150.57, at 147.56, and I would ride the Baidu puts all the way down to where we might see support at 138. So that's how you might trade it. Again, 138 was acting as rejection yesterday. The high was 130, or we closed at 137. 141 was the high. So again, I'd be looking for Baidu to reject 147, 150. The fact that it's trading at 145 pre-market, again, I wouldn't look to get into calls or puts. I'm looking more for rejection on Baidu for them to fade China. But what else am I talking about this morning? That was Chinese stocks. Let's get back to earnings. AMC earnings came out. AMC is getting beat up pre-market. We can see AMC's revenue came in just under $1 billion. The estimate was 977 million. So they came in and they beat by a little. The loss per share estimated at 21 cents. Their adjusted loss per share was 14 cents. So it came in online, but it wasn't a strong beat for AMC to squeeze. And AMC's got to be down what? 6, 7, probably even 8% pre-market. Let's just check out where AMC is. AMC down 4.5% pre-market. So it's getting a little bit of a buyback. I guess that happened around 7:30 a.m. as it was around $6.51. I will not get involved with AMC until I see major support. How would I find major support for AMC? Well, shit. I would probably use Discord and look at the dark pool levels. So let's do that together. TRDP levels, AMC. And let's see where AMC's dark pool levels come in at. Let's bring it so everybody can see it. Make sure I'm sharing it correctly. Okay, so AMC is trading at 675 pre-market. I look up here and I say, okay, small zone. Here we go. 689, 889, 8,890,000. Pretty small levels all the way up to 750. So if it gets bullish and it shows support, I think AMC can ride up to 750 today. The fact that it's down 5% pre-market, AMC could turn positive if they decide to push it positively. Now, where am I looking for support? Right at the 628 level. The fact that we're sitting at 680 pre-market and it's down 5%, I wouldn't get involved until it came down another 5% or 6%. I would need to see it right at the 628, 630 level for me to get excited and get into AMCs as far as calls go. Puts, I wouldn't play with puts. Again, AMC's been having support for a couple of days. So what else do I want to talk about this morning? We haven't got to the SPY levels, and I'll give you my bull case and my bear case scenario. Okay, let's start talking about that. So SPY levels yesterday, 3.6 billion reported off the exchange in the dark pool levels of the SPY. Major support right here at 396.50. So that's a key level. Another 800 million was traded at 396.51. So right at the same level. And then an additional 1.9 billion was reported at 397.71. So when I look at the SPY pre-market and I say, where are we? 396 flat pre-market, and I see that dark pool levels traded at 396.50 and 396.51 and 397. I go, okay, those could act as rejection as we're sitting under there. Now, there was a ton of support late in the afternoon. So let's just go why I saw a ton of support. Can you guys see this again? Here we go. SPY, big surprise coming. All are bearish, including myself. I've mentioned that. And the big boys or the big money bought the close. And if I'm looking at the dark pool level and where they bought it at, 396.51, 396.26, 396.52. Again, bought, filled at ask, meaning that they are more bullish because they're paying the ask. They're not waiting for it to get their bid. So again, I'm seeing the levels right at the 396.51. So as we sit and we close at 396.19, what do I think is going to happen today? Well, you know I'm a long-term bear. But if I have to give my prediction today, I'm going to suggest we see the same thing that we've seen the past 2 trading days, meaning we pop on open. When we pop, I don't mean we're going 3 points higher. I mean we go 0.5% higher, which is generally about 2 points on the SPY. We reject. Once we reject, you'll see that sell-off. And in the previous 2 trading days, we saw the same thing happen. We saw a bit of a pop at open. We looked like we were going to be strong in the market, and then all of a sudden it sold off. Now, if we look at yesterday's chart, and let's do that real quick. I'm all over the place this morning, but hopefully I'm here to help you. Yesterday's chart kind of looked like, let's just find it, the day before, meaning we popped it open, we sold off, we rebounded right around the same time each day, which is about 1 in the afternoon, went strong for about an hour and a half, and then sold off the last 30 minutes. So if I'm telling myself that I'm going to find a good trading strategy for today, I'm going to say, okay, follow the same pattern. Pop it open. If I get involved with calls right away out of the gate, there's a trading strategy. So trading strategy number 1, calls right out of the gate. On the first dip, I'm buying calls. And I ride the SPY up to the 399 level, which we saw reject yesterday, which we saw reject 3 times the day before. So again, first strategy, getting calls on open on the opening dip, because I'm looking for a dip right out of the gate. We're sitting at 396.05 flat. So, I mean, a good support level might be something like 395 flat or even 394.80 if we see that. So those are 2 entry points I'm looking for. Strategy number 1, calls off open, see a morning dip. I go down to, or the SPY goes down to 394 and change or 395 flat. I get into calls and I ride them up to about 398, registering 3-point return, which would probably return me about 65 or 70% on those calls. Okay, strategy number 1. Let's say I missed strategy number 1. I'm not trading it open, yet I am correct. We see a small dip and we see the SPY spike up to 398. What am I doing next for my second strategy because I missed the first one? Second strategy is, okay, I might look to get a little bearish today. Flip the tables on them. I'm going to see if the SPY rejects 399, which we saw reject yesterday. The high on the SPY yesterday, 399.28. The high yesterday morning, 399.20. So again, we saw 399 2 times yesterday before we dropped subsequently both times. The day before, on Monday, we saw the SPY, and you remember my pre-market video. I said 399 looking for rejection, maybe 399.50. We saw the SPY reject 3 times, 399 on Monday. So again, if I miss the morning push up to 399, I'm going to look to see if 399 rejects. I'm going to look at the 1 minute, the 3 minute. If I see rejection and see confirmation, I can get involved with puts, and I can ride it down from 399 all the way to 396 flat, which would be right where we're sitting pre-market. So that is strategy number 2. Let's say I miss both strategy number 1 and number 2 because I'm on the sidelines, because I'm running errands, because I'm going to school, because I'm going supermarket shopping, because I'm going to the doctor. What's an afternoon strategy? Well, an afternoon strategy, I'm going to go back to the past 2 days. Again, Monday and Tuesday, we saw a bit of a market pump around the same time, which is about 12:30 to 1 p.m. So I missed my first 2 entries on calls or on puts. Let's say I'm correct about the market. So I say, okay, I know what's going to happen later in the day. We're going to get a bit of a spike or a push higher around 12:30, which sells off. It sold off on Monday at 3 p.m. and we went to a new low for Monday afternoon between 3 and 4 p.m. And yesterday we did the same exact thing. Market was pumping all the way to 399, probably around 1, 2 p.m. At 3 o'clock, we sold off and we went from the high of the day, 399.28, all the way to the low of the day, which is 396. So even if we trade a smaller range, strategy number 3 for me is going to be history repeats itself. Same as Monday, same as Tuesday. Let's say I miss my first position, which would be calls on the morning dip, then puts on the morning spike is my second option. Say I miss both of those, then I'm going to look for a spike in the market right around 12:30 to 1 to 1:30. If I miss calls there, I'm still not done with missing, trades. I could perhaps get into a 3 p.m. put position and ride those out. Now, the reason I do think the market is going to spike this morning, or at least go up and touch those 399 level, is because I saw a ton of call options come across the board right before market close, about 9 minutes to market close yesterday. So again, I would be bullish going into today. With that said, I'm still a bear. So we're trading without emotion. We're following the market. We're following the 1 minute, the 3 minute, the 5 minute chart. With that said, let's pull up the dark pool levels again. Let's talk about where we can see that going on the SPY. So let me go over to Discord. Here we go. All right, the day dark pool levels, AMC. Here we go. Baidu, dark pool level. I mentioned that. Here we go. SPY. Make sure you all can see this with me. You can. So we are currently sitting right at 396. Understand, if there's bearish momentum on the market, we're going to go down past this 394.82 level. Well, 394.82, I mentioned if we see a morning dip, it might dip to 395 plus or minus 20 cents. So the fact that there's a dark pool level right at 394.82, again, bold case scenario today. We dip to this dark pool level, 394.82, and then we spike right back up to the 397.12 dark pool level, and the next level, which we've seen reject 3 times, 399.42. Understanding, if we break through that level, again, there's a ghost zone all the way up to 406. So your bull case scenario for this week, again, we're on Wednesday, but you go Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You say China is strong, China increased liquidity in their market. Our markets will react positively. If they do, if the Chinese stocks do not fade, then yeah, I think 399 is a definitely play in the market today. I think we'll go up to that level. Again, I would look for it to reject. If it doesn't reject 399, then we could easily see a push higher to the 401 or even 404 level. So again, bull case scenario is see a dip at open. We're looking for 399 to reject. If 399 does not reject, we're talking about 395 to 399, then you're looking at the next level higher, 401, 404. If I'm going to take a bear position, then I'm going to look for 399 to reject. If 399 rejects, just like it did Monday and Tuesday, we're going to revisit the lows of the day. So again, say you miss your morning entry into calls on market open. Say you miss the first level of puts at 399 and we go back and we visit 396. You could still look for a pop in the market around 1 or 1:30 and then potentially a sell-off around 3 o'clock, which is the same thing we saw both on Monday and Tuesday. So again, history repeats itself. Please, if you have any questions, ask them on the side. I'm going to talk about a few stocks now that I've covered the SPY. Somebody mentioned, is Johnson & Johnson still on my watch list? It is on my watch list, but I have not made an active trade for Johnson & Johnson. So it is still on my watch list. And speaking of my watch list, I'm going to mention a few stocks that pulled my interest or a few stocks and ETFs. So here we go. First, NVIDIA. NVIDIA trading at $232 announced a shelf offering. A shelf offering could be extra stock. It could be a stock that they've had on their books. It could be a public offering or a mixed offering, public and private. Haven't heard what the offering is, but understand what NVIDIA does is Once they see major demand on the stock, and I understand the stock was at 204, 212, price target of 245, went up to 235 yesterday. It is back down at 232, probably off a point or two this morning at 230. So here's what your chart looks like. So NVIDIA doing an offering, you can see it retrace all the way back to 214. If nobody wants to pick up on the offering, NVIDIA puts could be the place to be, as I could see like a 6-7% pullback. If institutions and big money, the same people that pushed NVIDIA up from 214 all the way to 238 with within the last week, 11% gain, and NVIDIA is already up 100% this year. If they don't want to purchase at the offering, then the stock price will come down. So it's really about finding some support. When you find support for NVIDIA, then you can say, okay, I can get long calls. If NVIDIA doesn't have support and volume is weak, then you can see NVIDIA pull back another 7 or 8% over the next couple of days. So that's my feeling on NVIDIA. What do I think about NVIDIA offering? Just share that information. Again, you want to look for volume and support. Once you find support, you can get involved with calls. If you don't find support, it will keep dropping until you find the support line. So that's one stock that I was looking at. Second, XLF, which is the financial ETF. Why? I saw a bunch of bearish sentiment on this ETF. If I look at the past 5 days, it's relatively flat. However, there was a big drop after hours. Not really sure if I believe that, but if I'm looking at the 1-month chart, again, XLF has found support, but it's still telling me that we could be a little more bearish. So I'm not getting involved there. All right. Hewlett Packard had earnings, wasn't that impressed. It's up 2.3% pre-market. First Solar had earnings. It's up 6.18% pre-market. They were buying First Solar yesterday. So what can I do? If I think the market's going to struggle, I might decide to fade those two stocks. If the market, I decide, is going to flip and be positive 1%, and we're going to see 399 or 400, then I can say, okay, those stocks will likely rip higher. So again, Hewlett Packard up 2.3%. If I believe the market's going to be green and push to 400, Hewlett Packard could run 4 or 5% today. First Solar could run 9 or 10% higher. It's only up 6% pre-market. Rivian, interesting. Rivian had a ton of calls coming over the wire past 2 days. They were purchasing the past 2 days. Rivian, I don't know if they had earnings, but Rivian is off 8% this morning. Price target cuts. So what could happen? It could have been a pump and dump. Again, Rivian was $17, pumped all the way up to almost $20 yesterday, which you're talking about what? A 16% move higher. And then all of a sudden it's back to the $17.60 range today, where it previously had support. So again, Rivian, you really want to see if it has support in the range that it's at, $17.50. You might decide, let me go to see the dark pool levels. Okay, shit, that's what I would do if I wanted to get involved with Rivian. So I'd say, okay, let me look at the dark pool levels for Rivian. So I do DP levels and RIVN, see where it sits. Again, dark pool level, I know that we're around $17.50 right now. So I say to myself, okay, what was support before, right here, 1812, 1858, 1903, could easily turn into rejection. Or it could flip and be bought up, and we could fill that crater, a quick little V. 1760 on market open gets bought up, 1812, 1858. So again, if I was going to be positive something and I thought the markets could rebound, I would say, okay, Rivian's a decent play this morning because it's off 9% pre-market. Again, it was off 9% pre-market, then it was just off 4% pre-market. So again, NVIDIA's flat pre-market is off 0.28%. Rivian's off 9%. Apple, I mentioned, which has had strong inflow. 9 out of the last 12 days has been inflow on Apple. And we're talking about pushing it from 145 all the way up to 154. So that's your Apple range. Again, 145 being support, closed at 147. I think Apple could always pull back down to the 145 to find support. But again, if I'm looking at the Apple chart, we're on a huge decline right there. What's likely is if we carry on this directional, you're probably going to see back at 149. So if we get a morning dip on Apple down to a 145, 90 level, I might get involved with Apple calls, thinking we could push up from, let's say, even say 146 flat all the way to 149. If you look at the range yesterday, 146.83 the low, 149.08 the high. So I could look to trade Apple in the same capacity. Again, once I find the bottom, if I find support on the 1 minute, the 3 minute, I'll get into Apple calls. If Apple spikes to 149 off market open because the SPY is going to 399 or 398 and change, then I say once I see the SPY reject 399 and I see Apple at 148.80 or something like that and find it to reject, then I can get involved with Apple puts. So again, what else? Oh yeah, one of my favorites, Boyle. So I got into Boyle options. I was in the $6 calls. Okay, I got involved with the $6 calls like a week ago. I took profit over 100%. I exited out on Monday and then Tuesday open. I said I was looking to re-enter my Boyle position yesterday. Now here's what I did. Boyle drops from $6.30 to $6.18. I said, shit, I sold at $6.50. I got a great exit. Let me get back involved. I got it at $6.19 and I started talking about it. $6.19, I'm in Boyle. $6.18, I'm back in Boyle. In the $6 calls, I paid $40 per option. What happened after I got back in? 5 minutes, 10 minutes later, Boyle went under $6. It went to $5.84. Those same $6 calls that I got involved with went down to $27 per contract. Again, I got back in at $40 a contract. Thought I was doing great. Back to 27. I'm off $13. I'm off what? Like 40%. Now, the great news about those Boyle contracts is Boyle, where did it finish at? I think it finished at above $6.64. And it's probably up pre-market because, again, if you look at the 1 month chart of Boyle, how do I know there's demand? Well, I'm looking at the chart here. I got 5 straight inflow days since I called the bottom at 480, 481, 488, something like that. That's when I got involved. Again, 5 straight inflow days on Boyle. Where do I think Boyle's going? Higher. So yesterday, its low was 586. Again, after I got in at 619, it went to 586. It closed near the high at 667. So those Boyle contracts, and again, it's where we pre-market. We're down $2.40, 2% pre-market off 16 cents. Still at $6.50. So $6.50. Do I want to buy Boyle at $6.50? No, because I already saw it contract yesterday to 586. However, if it wants to go higher and push 672 or even 680, I will hold on to my contracts. Again, I'm in at 40 cents. They closed yesterday at $77 each. Meaning, for my second entry, which wasn't even the low because the low was $27 a contract, I'm up probably 94% or something to that extent. I see someone mentioning Tesla. Tesla calls were coming across the wire, which is why I thought I could be bullish in the market today. And again, if I'm going to be bullish in the market, I've seen a rejection at $3.99 on the SPY on Monday, $3.99 on the SPY on Tuesday. If we go back to Friday, rejection was right around the 402 level, and that happened first thing in the morning. So again, nothing's changed. If I want to be bullish, I'm still looking at those rejection levels using the dark pool levels. So again, I'm looking at the SPY to bull case scenario. Let's just do it one more time, and then we'll head over to Discord. Bull case scenario on the SPY. We see a drop. We close at 396. We're at 395.71. Right now, pre-market, we see a drop on market open all the way to the next dark pool level range, which is just under 394.5. It's 394.81 plus or minus 20 cents. So again, I'm looking for a dip on the market. Say I'm looking for a dip to 394.70 before they reverse it and start buying. I'm looking for a dip, bull case scenario, 394.71. I'm looking for volume to intensify, for some buying to continue, and then I'm looking for a push all the way back up to 398 and change. So if I get in at 394.71, I'm looking for an exit at 398.71, 4 points, 1% higher from where I'm calling the low. That is my bull case scenario. My bear case scenario is, shit, we see buying right out of the gate. The SPY is sitting off right now at 395.73. We closed at 396.19. So we're down a little. And what would I expect to see it open? Again, I'm going to give you the bear case scenario. Bear case scenario is market rips higher at open. They're buying. They're buying China stocks. They're buying Apple, Microsoft, Tesla, Netflix. You see the SPY push up. We see 398 almost out of the gate. So you're talking about a quick flip up, 0.5%. I'm going to look for rejection. As soon as I find that rejection level, then I'm going to say I need it to reject 2 or 3 times. I never go with the first rejection because here's what you could see. You could see the market rip higher. Then you're like, oh, rejection, sell off, and then it goes even higher. So remember the key times that I mentioned in the morning, 9:30 to 10:30. I let the market play out itself. Then Around 10:50 to 11:11, I let the market tell me direction. Between 11:20 and 11:50, I'm either seeing the market at its best for the day or the worst for the day. If it's at the best for the day, then I'm looking for the market to fade in the afternoon. If it's at the worst for today and we're seeing a bearish day and it's 11:20 to 11:50 a.m. Eastern time, then I'm saying, okay, I want to look for the bottom. When I find the bottom, that's when I'm going to get involved with calls. Why? Because we've seen the market not capitulate, so it more or less trades a range. So we're looking for head and shoulders. Well, if I find the shoulders, I'm going to ride it up to the head. If I find the head, then I'm going to ride it down to the shoulders. So again, have two strategies. I've mentioned three strategies since the beginning. I'm looking to buy the dip on open. So whenever we dip and I find support on the 1 minute, 3 minute, I'm going to get involved with calls right up to 399. If 399 rejects, strategy number two, I'm looking for the market to drop somewhere between what? 10:20 a.m. and 10:50 a.m. If we get bought up at open, I'm going to look for that same drop we saw Monday and Tuesday. That's strategy number two. Strategy number three, the past 2 days when the market is dipping, we see a bit of a rebound around 12:30 or 1 o'clock. So I'm going to get in before that rebound. That would be a bull case scenario. Strategy number three. Or strategy number four, I missed trading all the way to 2 p.m. The market does it exactly what I'm going to say. Dip, spike, drop off, rebounds around 1 o'clock. At 3 p.m., I'm looking for the market to fade itself, which you've seen both Monday and Tuesday, 2 days. Okay, so let's just say, Ryan, great information video this morning. I'll follow you into calls it open. Yes, when I say calls it open, I don't mean calls as soon as the market opens. I mean, we want to see it dip and find support. So you must be using something like, and I'll show you exactly what I'm using. Let me just remove this. Stop sharing my screen, present. I'll share with my screen what I like to use. I like to look at the SPY here. Okay, so let me make sure I'm sharing it. Here we go. Oh, let's add it to the stream. There we go. Okay, so I'll go to my trading view. I will go to the chart and I'll use a 1 minute chart. I'm going to go and instead of filling in, I'm going to use candles. All right. Now we can see what's going on here. Let's go to a 3 minute chart. Here we go. All right. So we saw the sell off towards the end of the day. We saw the rebound. Exactly when I said it would rebound and sell off. So again, I'll use a 1 minute, a 3 minute, and a 5 minute to confirm. The fact that we gap down here, I would look for support right at this level. Where is it? Right about here. 395. If we see it a little lower, 395 again. If we see it a little lower, 395 again. So when I talk about possibly finding support right at the 394.70 or 395 level, here's why. Now, if we don't find support at the 394.95 level, remember we gap down, then we gap back up. So we filled that gap. Gap down. What are we told? That you're going to fill the gap. Well, you look at the next day. Boom, we filled the gap. So we're right back up here. But where are we going? Back down to these levels. So let's remember, same thing happened here, right? Gapped up, got to fill that gap. What do? We filled it right here the next day. So if you miss trading, and we're at 395.60, 395.56, let's just remember what I said last week. Last week, I think it was on Thursday or Friday, I said if the market is bearish this week, if numbers come out and they're pretty strong as far as inflation goes, then it wouldn't surprise me if we revisit that 389, 388 level. So again, zooming out, 3-day scenario, let's say bear, we're going to see 388 on the SPY. 388 being 8 points lower, being a whole 2.5%. Again, bear case scenario, 2.5% lower. Bull case scenario for a run out the week, 406. We see 406, we're 10 points higher, 3% higher. So you're talking about bull case, 3% higher by week's end. Bear case, 2% lower from week's end. On an intraday level, what I'm looking at to see if we find support at 394.70. Again, we're at 395.50 pre-market. The next level higher is going to be right around the 396 level. If we break that, you're going to see the 399 attacked again. So that's what I'm looking at. Thanks for joining me. If you like what I said this morning, please thumbs up. If you want to see more, please join our Discord. You'll have to verify yourself, and then you'll hit join here. Once you do, you get all of those channels that I mentioned. Plus, you get all of the option channels as well. Golden sweeps. You can see when big money is coming in as it comes in. Extremely important to follow big money. Even if you don't agree, it could save you money if you're on the wrong side of the trade or make you money for being on the right side of the trade. So again, I will see everybody tomorrow.